Welcome back. It is your favorite ball gamer, Nekrage, or Greg from Oathbound Gaming and Orenthul and the Nekrage Twitch channel. Links down below if you want to see, if you want to find us everywhere. You find the guild, you find my Twitch, join me on the Twitch. It's a fun, good time. Anyway, today we're going over the Sorcerer. We're going to go over every single ability that this class has. Alright, we have a lot to do, so let's get started. Spark. Launch a bolt of lightning that shocks an enemy 4 times, dealing 32 damage each hit. Killing an enemy has a 10% chance to form a crackling energy. Each time Spark hits its primary target, there's a 20% chance to hit up to 3 additional enemies, dealing 22 damage. If there are no other enemies to hit, Spark instead deals 20% increased damage to its primary target. Not bad. Clothing Spark. Spark grants 2% increased critical strike chance per cast for 3 seconds up to 10%. Each time Spark hits an enemy, it has a 3% chance to form a crackling energy. We're going to choose this one because I want to show off what crackling energy is. So we'll see if we get one to spawn. So there it is, what the ability looks like. See, it's chaining to additional enemies. And we got ourselves a crackling energy. So we pick those up. You'll see this crackling energy periodically damages nearby enemies when picked up. You'll get this little bar down there. That's pretty cool. You see it's bolting enemies because I picked it up from enemies that we killed. There we go. There's also some more modifiers to crackling energy later in the tree. They're passives that, like you gain mana as you pick them up, stuff like that. Frostbolt. Throw a bolt of frost at an enemy, dealing 137 damage and chilling them for 15%. There's one thing I do want to put on that I forgot to put on. I'm going to put on these tooltips. They're very important because as we scroll over them, you'll see now we get 35%. Recommend turning that on, guys. It's not just the damage numbers. It tells you the percentage of your total damage it's going to do. And that's important because you see exactly how things scale, right? It's not just the damage numbers we care about. As we equip new weapons and get better gear, obviously those numbers go up, but what percentage is it doing? So 35% with the Frostbolt and chilling them for 15%. Chilled, look at the bottom. Chilled, enemies have reduced movement speed. Repeatedly chilling an enemy will freeze it. So as we keep hitting an enemy with the Frostbolt, it's going to freeze them. Frostbolt has a 15% chance to explode on chilled enemies, hitting surrounding enemies. Chance increased to 100% against frozen enemies. Frostbolt makes frozen enemies vulnerable for 3 seconds. Frostbolt generates 4 mana when hitting chilled or frozen enemies. So it helps you regain your mana. And obviously we wanna have the ability to get mana back because it's important to use the stronger abilities, right? So we're gonna keep hitting this Prowler. As you see, he's slowing up a lot. He started slowing up a whole ton there at the end as we hit him. Good, we got a Wood Wraith over here. Something stronger, more health. So we're going to go ahead and hit this dude. You'll see he's going to start to really slow up there, and eventually he is frozen, and now he's vulnerable, which means he takes 20% more damage. I'm going to want to back out of that so I don't die, because they do hit pretty hard. Alright, so that's the end of our Frostbolt. We're going to go ahead and go to our next one, our Firebolt. Hurl a Flaming Bolt, dealing 10% damage and burning for 40% damage over 8 seconds. Direct damage from skills applies up to an additional 23% burning damage over 8 seconds from the enchantment. If we have an enchantment effect on it, which is the Sorcerer's kind of like class specialty, which we don't have running just yet. Firebolt pierces through burning enemies. Firebolt generates 2 mana when hitting a burning enemy. Critical strikes with Firebolt increase the burning damage you deal to the enemy by 20% for 4 seconds. So let's grab that. Let's throw little flames out there, right? We did our lightning. We did our frost. Let's burn some stuff. So it pierces through an enemy if it's already burning. So you see it doesn't pierce through on the first hit. Watch, it won't pierce through. But now that he's already burning, it's going to pierce through. So the first hit won't pierce. Every subsequent hit will continue to pierce and hopefully hit additional enemies behind him. You'll see that dulled health bar at the top, how it's not as like solid as it once was. That's showing that the dots on him will do that much damage. And since the entire health bar was grayed out, kind of like dulled, we knew that the burn would finish him off. I didn't even need to do any more damage. I mean, obviously I wouldn't realistically fight like that, but I'm going to show that one more time because it's a cool little tip. You'll see the difference between the health bars at the top. Look at that giant bat, right? As I hit him, it's dulled out. It's showing me the dot's going to finish him off. So the Storm Warg, if we can take a good look at him without getting the bats in the way. See, the first hit on this Storm Warg, it only shows that the burning damage is going to do a certain amount, right? Not too much. And now it increases. and it's going to kill him. But I could speed that process up by just hitting him myself. Alright, moving on. Sorry, it's a little bit more than just abilities, just a little bit of tips for anyone that might be brand new to the game. Little tips for you to learn, you know, some tips and tricks and be a better Diablo 4 player. Alright. Arcing Lightning, I like this one. 42% damage to enemies in front of you. Every 10 times Arclash swipes, it stuns all enemies hit for 2 seconds. If Arclash's initial swipe critically strikes, it swipes an additional time. Hitting a stunned enemy with Arclash reduces your cooldowns by 0.25 seconds. Gain 6% movement speed for 5 seconds per enemy hit with Arclash. Pretty cool ability. I like it. But obviously you don't want to be this close. But it's cool. It's flashy, you know? And it kind of just swings back and forth. I like it. I think it's a cool ability, but you know, you're playing hardcore as a caster, you rarely want to get this close, but it does damage, man. It does a lot of damage. But be careful if you're getting that close. We'll grab Spark and grab that on our bars because we need that to extend to the next section, right? Incinerate. Channel a beam of fire, burning enemies for 36% damage per second. Damage per second increases over 4 seconds up to 49% damage. While channeling Incinerate, you burn enemies around you for 15% of damage per second. Enemies deal 20% less damage while burning from Incinerate. Every 4 seconds an enemy has been hit by Incinerate, they are immobilized for 1 second. So we'll grab that. Let's go burn some stuff. Ghouls. Pretty cool effect. We got some immobilization procs popping there. As they're burning for 4 seconds, they'll be immobilized. And we'll just finish these dudes off.
I'm out of mana.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Moving on to the next fire spell. Fireball. Gotta have fireball in your games, right? You gotta. Early exploding ball of fire, dealing 60% damage to surrounding enemies. Fireball's radius is increased based on distance traveled up to 50%. Fireball's explosion critical strike chance damage is increased by 10%. Each enemy it hits increases this bonus by 5% up to 25%. Fireball deals 10% of the burning damage you've applied to enemies as additional direct damage. Alright, so let's throw some fireballs.
I need time to prepare that.
Boom, boom.
Out of mana.
I want to, let me get more mana and then, we'll go for something long range so you get a better visual of what fireball looks like.
I'm out of mana.
Big AoE on it. So one thing it doesn't do is it doesn't burn enemies, right? So it's not burning enemies, but this does 10% of the burning damage you've applied, so you'd want to apply burn from another source and then hit them with that. Frozen Orb. One of my favorites from Diablo 2. How is it in Diablo 4? Let's find out. Unleash an orb that chills. I know how it is, and I'm not impressed, but I'm going to let you see it. An orb that chills for 34% and expels piercing shards, dealing a total of 35% damage. Upon expiration, Frozen Orb explodes, dealing 32% damage and chilling enemies. When cast above 50% mana, Frozen Orb's explosion damage is increased by 30%. Frozen Orb's explosion restores 5 mana when hitting a frozen enemy. Frozen Orb's explosion has a 25% chance to make all enemies hit vulnerable for 2 seconds. Frozen Orb always makes frozen enemies vulnerable, and of course vulnerable means they take 25% more damage. Now, Diablo 2, and the reason why I'm not impressed with Diablo 4 is because I expect it to be like a screen wiping, just, you know Frozen Orb from D2. Throwing massive bolts out. It's cool. It does damage. It's cool. I like it. But it's not Diablo 2 Frozen Orb, right? But it's cool. I like it. It's cool enough. And I guess that's Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is not about massive screen clearing abilities anymore. They're a little bit more tame, and I do think that's better, though. I do think from an overall game balance, it is better to have it like this, rather than... Because, I mean, when we compare the size of it, I mean, I'll just throw it... Compare the size. This thing's like a radius like this, but in Diablo 2, it was throwing bolts all the way to the edge of the screen, you know, taking up the whole screen. But it works in D4. It still does what it has to do, right? It does damage. It kills things. Not too bad. Ice Shards. Launch 5 shards that deal 25% damage each. Deals 20% increased damage to frozen enemies. Ice shards have 50% chance to ricochet to another enemy. Ice shards always ricochet off frozen enemies. While you have a barrier active, cast of ice shards treat enemies as if they were frozen. It's pretty cool. Hitting an enemy with 5 ice shards in a single cast makes them vulnerable for 2 seconds. Now, 5 shards in a single cast, it's going to be hard to do, right? No. It's a straight line. It's not like a conical thing. It's pretty cool. I like that one. It's a straight line of just ice shards, so you can really dish out a lot of damage to a single target. It makes them vulnerable. They take 20% more damage, and you just keep throwing. Frozen orb. Right. Next attack. Chain Lightning. Ooh, a crowd favorite, right? Chain Lightning. Oops, I potioned and closed my window. Unleash a stream of lightning damage that deals 42% damage and chains between nearby enemies and you up to 6 times, prioritizing enemies. Enhanced Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning gains a 3% increased critical strike chance per bounce. When Chain Lightning critically strikes, it has a 25% chance to form a crackling energy. We showed that before. If Chain Lightning bounces off of you, its next hit deals 25% increased damage. Okay, so Chain Lightning. I like this ability. This is good. Where's your friends? I just showed that off, just bouncing between me and the enemy, right? That's kind of cool. You can use it against a single target. It'll bounce against you and do more damage to the enemy. Because it always sucks if you use Chain Lightning against one enemy and it just like fizzles out, you know? It's got no one to jump to. So in games, you see that a lot. But in this game, it'll use you as a target. Chain Lightning.
I lack the needed mana.
It's good. Chain Lightning's very good. And I just pulled some skeletons with it by accident. But Chain Lightning will make quick. That jump is far. And yes, it can jump between the same 2 enemies. Bam, 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 bam. Back and forth. A lot of damage. Charge bolts. Another Diablo II. Release 5 bolts of lightning that course along the ground in an erratic pattern. Definitely Diablo II, erratic pattern. Hitting an enemy at least 3 times with the same cast of charge bolt releases a lightning nova, dealing 15% damage to enemies around them. Hitting an enemy with charge bolts reduces damage dealt by 20%. Charge bolt deals 25% increased damage to stunned enemies. So it's I really wish the number of bolts went up as you leveled it. It's unfortunate that it doesn't, but it is what it is. That's something I really do think Diablo IV needs to work on, is the scaling of abilities as you put additional points in it. They don't scale very well almost across the board of every class, every ability. Almost. Some scale, better than others, but they're not great. Alright, so there's our charge bolt. And we can shotgun with it. So we go boom, boom, and it releases the nova. So point blank, all the bolts hit the single enemy, and it releases a nova. Personally, I think Chain Lightning takes the cake for the better ability, but who knows? Maybe you're into the charge bolt thing. I'm gonna pick up Chain Lightning again because I need to spend more points to get to the next ability, the next section. These are our defensive abilities. Very important because I play hardcore. Staying alive is amazing, right? This is something I personally feel needs a nerf. You guys that play sorcerers might not like hearing this, but an enhancement effect. I'm sorry, not enhancement. Enchantment effect at the bottom there. We'll go over that. Engulf yourself in flames for 2 seconds, burning surrounding enemies for 96 damage per second. While Flame Shield is active, you are immune. You cannot take damage. So we're going to grab that. And if you choose to make that your enchantment, it will automatically resurrect you if you die. Essentially. Not resurrect. It's essentially saying, if you die, you take fatal damage. Instead of you dying, it's going to say, hey, we won't kill you with that hit, and here's two seconds of immortality. You still have to heal. It's not going to heal you to full health, but it's essentially like a second life. Hopefully you have a potion charge, though. Hopefully that pops. You're like, oh, shit, and you have a potion charge. You pop the potion charge. It brings you back to full health. Hopefully. Hopefully you got that available. Saves your life. Or you just put distance on the enemy. You run, you get out of there, right? Or you teleport. We'll get over to that after this. Flame Shield. Enhanced Flame Shield. Flame Shield grants 25% movement. Flame Shield heals you for 50% of your missing life. And if you don't have a potion and that pops automatically, it will also heal you for 50% of your missing life. It's going to heal you automatically. Or you could say gain 25% mana cost reduction while Flame Shield active. I would go for the heal personally. I think that's the better choice, especially if you have it with the enchantment. You're playing in hardcore instead of dying. Instead of dying, it makes you immortal for 2 seconds and it heals you for 50% health. Sweet deal, right? You didn't lose your character over that. So we're going to go ahead and pop Flame Shield. Now. That's pretty spicy, no? Not bad. It's 50% of your missing life, by the way, not 50% of your health. So if this pops automatically from the enchantment, you're at 0 health, right? Essentially. I wonder if... Yeah, you'd essentially be about 0. I mean, you could have 100 health left, get hit for 105. Instead of taking the damage, it activates. You still have 100 health, and then it heals you 50% of the missing life. So it's pretty much going to be 100% of your health. It's not guaranteed to be, though. It'll be close. All right, teleport. Is a good... Transforms into lightning, becoming unstoppable, which is important. That removes all crowd control pairing effects and makes you immune to them. A lot of people die in hardcore from being crowd controlled. A lot of stuns, freezes, you die. This is good. Transforms you into lightning, becoming unstoppable and surging to the target location, dealing 25% damage at around you at your point of arrival. So we got a point in that. Teleport's cooldown is decreased by 0.5 seconds per enemy hit, up to 3 seconds. After teleporting, you gain 30% damage reduction for 5 seconds. For 4 seconds after teleporting, crackling energy hits 2 additional enemies. I like the damage reduction. We're going to go ahead and grab that. We're going to teleport.
I'm not ready yet.
And now it's on cooldown, so I need to wait. This is something that a lot of people have been discussing this because you can use this essentially as far as you can see. And the problem with that is ultra-wide monitors get a massive advantage. And in a game that does have PvP, optional PvP, could be a big advantage. Could be a big advantage. So that's something to really consider. And obviously, like in isometric games, you can see more to like the top right, top left corner than you can see towards the down, towards the bottom. So you can always teleport further, like to the top left. I mean, obviously the terrain got in my way, but teleport's huge. Saves your life. Ice armor. A barrier of ice forms around you for 6 seconds, absorbing 30% of base life and damage. While ice armor is active, 10% of the damage dealt is added to its barrier. Very good. While ice armor is active, your mana generations can increase by 25%. Damage against vulnerable enemies contribute 100% more to ice armor's barrier. Enemies that hit you while ice armor is active have a 15% chance to be frozen. We're going to grab this, and keep in mind, there was, where was the, was it this one here? There we go. While you have a barrier active, cast of ice shards treat enemies as if they were frozen. And if an enemy's frozen, it increases the damage it does, right? So this barrier could help you combo with that with that ability if you wish to use that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to grab some enemies, let them wail on us a little bit.
I need time to prepare that.
And we're going to go ahead and throw the barrier up, and you see it's draining the barrier because enemies are hitting me, but the barrier is going back up as I deal damage. So you can keep that barrier going for the entire 6-second duration if you keep damage going and you don't get hit too hard, right? Frozen orb, get me out of this mess.
Out of mana once again.
Alright. We're going to do barrier here. We're going to go Frost Nova. Unless you're torn of frost, freezing enemies around you for 2 seconds. Another crowd favorite from Diablo II. Killing enemies frozen by Frost Nova reduces its cooldown by 2 seconds, up to 6 seconds per cast. Frost Nova generates 4 mana per enemy hit. Frost Nova makes enemies vulnerable for 4 seconds. It's increased to 8 seconds against bosses. We'll do that. We'll make them vulnerable and then throw like a Frost Nova at them or something.
I need time to prepare that.
Bring me some ghouls. There we go. Frost Nova, Chain Lightning, Frozen Nova. Gonna get one more.
I need time to prepare
Boom.
that.
Not bad. We're gonna grab ourselves. We'll go with the flame shield. Make ourselves immune to damage. We'll up it a little bit. It increases the duration because we do need to spend more points to get to the next section anyway. Pretty good. Hydra, pretty cool. We'll start with this. Summon a 3-headed Hydra for 12 seconds. Each head spits fire at enemies, dealing 30% damage. Maximum 1 Hydra active at a time. We have to put an extra point in there because I have points from gear, so I'm going to put a point in there. Enhanced Hydra. While healthy, We're going to go ahead and get healthy right now and use a potion. Healthy means you're above 80% health, or 80% or higher. While healthy, your cast of Hydra gain 1 additional head. After you critically strike, your Hydras gain 30% critical strike chance for 3 seconds, or Hydras also burn enemies for an additional 12% of its base damage over 6 seconds. And remember, if we have an enemy burning, we could have 10% of the damage you've applied to enemies as additional direct damage, so Fireball will do additional damage, so you can combo that if you choose to do so. We're going to go ahead and drop a Hydra now. Give me some enemies. Here we go. We got ourselves a 4-headed Hydra. Pretty cool looking, right? I like it. It's doing damage. It's burning. Yeah. Hydra's cool. And notice something? Down at the bottom?
Out of mana.
There's no cooldown. So if you got mana, you can put it up. Cool spell. Alright. Ice Blades. Conjure a pair of Ice Blades for 6 seconds that rapidly slash enemies for 31% damage and have a 30% chance to make them vulnerable for 2 seconds. Ice Blades cooldown is reduced by 1 second each time it hits a vulnerable enemy. 50% of enhanced Ice Blades cooldown reduction is applied to your other skill. 50% of enhanced Ice Blades cooldown reduction, which is this, is applied to your other skills. That means half a second comes off your other skills whenever this procs. Every time it hits a vulnerable enemy. Invoked Ice Blades. Your Ice Blades gain 10% increased attack speed per active Ice Blade. So let's go ahead and drag that to the bar. We'll get rid of Ice Shards for now. Let's get us some Ice Blades.
I need time.
Go, Ice Blades, go! They got little Ice Blades kind of just floating around doing damage there. Nothing impressive in my opinion. Meh. It's okay, I guess. Who am I kidding? It's pretty good.
I'm low on precious.
Hydra is definitely better. Had a guild member defeat, I think it was the Butcher, with just Hydra. Placing down Hydra and running, never stopped, let Hydra take care of it. So that was pretty interesting. I also have a video of the Butcher fight uploaded, by the way. Take a look at that 4-player Butcher fight. It's about 10 minutes long. It's a long fight. Lightning Spear. Conjures a spear of lightning that seeks out enemies for 6 seconds, dealing 15% damage per hit. Enhanced Lightning Spear. After critically striking, Lightning Spear gains a 5% increased stacking of critical strike chance for its duration. Collecting Crackling Essence increases the damage of your next Lightning Spear by 20%, up to 100%. Lightning Spear stuns enemies for 2 seconds when critically striking. We'll go ahead and grab that. Do some Lightning Spears.
I need time to prepare that.
So it's similar to, see, it's still going around, it's still floating around. It's kind of like a form of electricity that's almost like alive. It's like a dragon type of thing flying through enemies. It's okay. It's alright. Chain Lightning's kind of really where it's at, though.
I need time.
Okay, we're going to summon another one of these. It's going to do its thing. You see it's stunning enemies, though. That's pretty... So it's not always about like the enemy, the ability itself, like how much damage is that ability going to do. I mean, when it's stunning enemies and stuff, that's beautiful. You know, it allows you to put some distance on the enemies, maybe Chain Lightning spam them, something like that. Or some of the next abilities I'll show you. We'll put some points in Hydra because we need some points spent to get to the next area. We could also place it in passives. You deal, this is kind of cool, you deal 3% increased damage for each active conjuration. And that's what this section's called, like conjurations. They're all like summon type of things. So you can have all 3 of them running if you wanted. Weird build, but you can certainly do that. We're going to go ahead and level Hydra. Your lucky hit chance increased by 5%. That's pretty big. Some things have lucky hit chances, and you'll up the chance that like a proc will happen. And then this is a pretty nice area here in the tree. Mastery. What does it sound like? You can master a specific element, right? The barriers, chill. So this is more of like your frozen stuff. This is your fire stuff. Pyromancy skills deal increased damage. And this would be your lightning stuff. Critical strikes with shock skills have 5% chance to form a crackling energy. So you kind of like choosing to specialize in an element. Blizzard. This is a cool one. I like this one. Another favorite from Diablo 2. Summon a frigid blizzard that deals 132% damage and continually chills enemies for 18% over 8 seconds. It's already level 2 because of my gear. I'm going to put a point in there and bring it to 3. Blizzard deals 25% increased damage to frozen enemies. While you have an active Blizzard, your core skills cost 10% less mana. When cast above 50% mana, Blizzard's duration is increased by 4 seconds. That is cool. I really like that. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. We'll have a long duration Blizzard.
I need
We're going to go ahead and cast that on the next group of unfortunate ghouls. There's the blizzard. You can cast. There we go. It's not bad. Slows enemies. You could have more than one blizzard active at a time. It's pretty good. It's not bad at all. I really do like blizzard. I think it's a good spell. Alright, moving on. Meteor. Do I have to keep saying another Diablo II favorite? Meteor. Summon a meteor that strikes the target location, dealing 55% damage and burning the ground for 39% damage over 3 seconds. Remember when I said something about lucky hit? You see that enchantment effect? 3% chance for a meteor to fall on enemies, so you can like get an additional one. That's what lucky hit, like it would bolster that chance for lucky hit to happen. If a cast of meteor hits 3 or more enemies, there's a 30% chance an additional meteor falls on the same location. Meteor's impact immobilizes enemies for 2 seconds, or it falls 30% faster. I'm going to show you both of these because meteor, it's a little bit more of a skill shot in a way. You know, I'm going to use that, and it takes a little time to fall. So if an enemy's super fast, you might miss them, but this shortens the time, so it falls down quicker. And this will immobilize enemies, which is cool because if you hit them with the immobilization, it's going to leave them in the burn, right? It's going to leave them burning there if they survive the thing. Oh, and it procced the second meteor. So they're immobilized, they're burning. Oh, I missed them. Boom, immobilized, burning in it. Not a bad skill either. Kind of combo that with Blizzard, you know, immobilize him, then hit him with the Blizzard. Not bad. Firewall. This is cool. Create a wall of flames that burn enemies over for 176% damage over 8 seconds. Now, this might not look... Well, it's 160% with 1 point. I do have to put an extra point in there. Enemies take 25% increased burning damage from you while standing in Firewall. Enemies continue burning for 3 seconds after leaving Firewall, and you gain 5% increased mana regeneration per active Firewall up to 25%. We're going to do the additional burn as they leave, and this might not look too impressive to some people, but I'm telling you, when you're fighting bosses and you're fighting bigger bosses and such, you can keep them in the entire Firewall duration. Some of them don't really move much, especially if you have a melee in the group like myself, like I play a Barbarian, and keeping the enemy stable and really help them stay in this Firewall for a long time. So you see that they really are burning. We can form multiple Firewalls here, really burn this place up. And of course it forms on mouse pointer, and the angle that you cast it at determines how it's formed. So if I cast right above me, it's going to be a horizontal. This one's going to be a vertical because it's on the side, but it does some decent damage, and like you saw, enemies continue to burn because of that modifier we got. It could do some nasty, nasty damage.
I'm low on precious mana.
Pretty decent. I like it. Get out of it. Damn ghouls. Alright. Ball lightning. Discharge a ball of lightning that slowly moves forward, continually zapping enemies. This is cool too. I like this. It does 18% damage, but 20% for the additional point I have to put in to get to these passives. Modifiers, whatever you want to call them. Ball lightning's damage rate is increased by 200% of your attack speed bonus. It's big. After hitting close enemies 50 times with ball lightning, your next cast of it stuns enemies hit for 1 second. If an enemy is hit at least 4 times by a ball lightning, a crackling energy's form can only happen once per cast. Let's go ahead. Let's try that. Let's grab ourselves the ball lightning. Goodbye, Firewall. So it like zaps enemies as it goes through them and stuff. It's okay. You'll see it zap. You see it. It's like it doesn't need to be like in the ball lightning for it to do damage. It like zaps enemies next to it, like near it. So I'll cast it over here, and you'll see it'll zap. It should zap enemies near the ball lightning. Come on, do it. And it's not. Okay. So, not sure why we're not... There we go. So it kind of does it. They need to be close. It's not, like, exactly under the ball, but as long as they're in, like, the outside area, it'll zap them. But it's not, like, a long range in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of meh. I don't know. Hydra! It's okay, I guess. The other skills just seem to kind of outweigh it a little bit, you know, the Firewall, the Blizzard. I think Blizzard is amazing. I think Blizzard's kind of kind of where it's at in this section. Definitely my go-to one for this. I'm going to go ahead and grab Blizzard out of here right now. Get rid of the ball lightning. And do a cool Blizzard. And again, you can cast multiple in the same spot, do additional damage. I do like that. We'll level it up just to get to the next section here. 7 points in Blizzard because I have +2. It maxes out at 5, but 2 from the gear. So it does some decent damage. All right. It's a long video. I know we're slightly over 30 minutes. We're getting to the end, guys. The ultimates. Case yourself in ice, becoming immune for 4 seconds, continually dealing 13% damage and chilling enemies for 20%. When Deep Freeze expires, it deals an additional 100% damage. This is cool. Casting Deep Freeze early again ends the effect. That's very important. Prime Deep Freeze. When Deep Freeze ends, gain 10% of your base life as barrier for 6 seconds for each enemy you froze while it's active. When Deep Freeze ends, your non-ultimate cooldowns are reduced by 50%. Pretty good. Alright, we're going to grab us... let's get rid of Spark. Nope, I need Spark. I need to generate mana somehow. Alright. Alright, Blizzard. Gonna have to go away for now. Alright, here we go. Cool effect, right? Vulnerable, and you pop out, do massive damage. Hit him with the chain lightning, and you get that barrier. Massive barrier for freezing a lot of enemies. Really, really good. Like that. And yeah, 10% of your base life is barrier for 6 seconds for each enemy. Strong. Inferno. Summon a fiery serpent that continually constricts the target area, burning for 295% damage over 8 seconds. Inferno repeatedly pulls enemies to its center. While Inferno is active, your pyromancy skills cost no mana. It's very cool. So we got 18 seconds. We got some archers trying to mess with us. Some skelly boys.
I'm not ready yet.
Cooldown's got 5 seconds left. 3, 2, here's a good spot. Let's get him. Pulls them all in, like constricts them. Does fire damage. Summon our hydra. Not too bad. I do like that freeze though. I think the freeze is a little bit better though. Let's take these guys out. Alright, we're going to get rid of Inferno. And there is more, like... Alright, get rid of them. There's more, like, specialization here. Like, Frost Skills, Fire, and Lightning. There's more specialization as just, like, in this area. So you can further specialize in what you want to do. If you want to stick with, like, one element. And unlike Diablo II, there's no, like, immunity. So you don't have to do, like, oh, I better have a Fire and a Frost spell. You know, like, I know some people kind of tried to do that in D2. Usually you just have a strong mercenary and a bunch of elements, a single element. Lightning surges within you for 10 seconds. Whenever you cast a shock skill, a random core, conjuration, or mastery shock skill is also cast. Whenever you cast a shock skill, so you gotta get, you know, something else like you gotta keep spark, or you gotta keep other lightning abilities. So you're essentially specializing in lightning by choosing this because you only want to use lightning abilities while that ultimate is active, right? Unstable Currents increases your attack speed by 25% while active. While Unstable Currents is active, crackling energy continually pulses and consumes no charges. Alright, there we go. We're going to activate this right now. And we're going to use the lightning abilities, and you see the ball lightning's coming out as well. You see charge bolts coming out. Attack speed is really high. All sorts of lightning abilities just start spawning. That one's not bad. That one's not bad. I think between this one and the Deep Freeze is probably what I would go, but I still kind of edge a little bit towards that Deep Freeze as a hardcore player. That barrier is just... that barrier right there. Just... beautiful. Love it. So guys, that has been all of the Sorcerer skills. It's been a lot of talking. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate your support. Appreciate you checking out the channel. If you like the content, you know how it goes on YouTube, right? Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Definitely appreciate it. If you want to see any content at all, you want me to go over anything, drop it in the comments. Happy to make a video on anything you're looking for. If you have any questions, concerns, let me know. Happy to answer them. We've got a good guild here. If you have any question, I'm sure we can get it answered for you. All right, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your support. Catch you in the next video. Later!